Hey everybody, it's Alex here with the WCICO, and I have Elby and Matt with us today. Gentlemen, thank you for coming to Chongqing here, and we have a few questions to ask you. Of course, you guys are the channels to go to for trains, all things trains, I would think, right?
Some might say.
That's right.
Let's start with you, Matt. What inspired both of you actually to travel the world by trains?
I mean, it was kind of an accident for me. I just started traveling myself and I wanted to share it with my friends and family. And I thought I can do this a bit more as a job, which was nice.
How many years ago was that?
I was 2019. Yeah. I started traveling like early 2019. And yeah, just sort of the last couple of years has been quite exponential both.
Let's talk about you and your channel. What inspired you also to travel the world by train?
Yeah, so I've, ever since a very young age, I've always been into trains and traveling on trains. And then when it got to age 18, I decided, well, let's see what's happening in other countries and go and have a look at their networks. And I covered most of Europe over the next few years. And I thought to myself, well, lots of people do flight reviews online. What if you take it quite literally down to earth and try reviewing some trains? And I've traveled on lots of incredible trains that when I was younger I could only dream of riding on. So yeah, it's been a pretty great journey.
So how did this collaboration between you two guys start?
So we were just pretty much in the same place at the same time. We thought, oh, let's meet up, have a pizza together. Ironically, it was in Italy, so.
So now you guys are in the city of Chongqing, the mega city. How does it compare to the other cities you guys have visited?
Bigger.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, obviously the biggest city I've been to beforehand was Tokyo, which I think at the time I first went there was probably even bigger than Chongqing. And now obviously Chongqing has overtaken it. Relatively organized, I'd say, organized chaos for the size it is. Certainly many cities I've been to, vastly smaller in size, have been a chaos, yeah.
Elby, what was your first impressions or what surprised you of Chongqing?
So of course we came into Chongqing on the train. So we saw lots of grand railway junctions and motorway junctions spiraling and spaghettiing around, and I was shocked at the sheer scale of this place. And coming into Chongqing Bay North Station and seeing all the skyscrapers off in the background, it was really quite a sight to behold.
I want your feedback of what you actually think, Chongqing, the complexity of its infrastructure here in regards to the train networks. We'll start with you.
Lines are on, you've got monorails going up here, monorails going down here, metro right through the middle, and the scale of it like that, and just how winding and complex it is just...
You have an interesting point where you're describing the different types of transportation, whether it's the subways, the monorails, or the trains. Chongqing's history has been quite complex when it comes to the infrastructure here, because you see, this is not just a flat city, it's a mountainous city, it's 8D city. And the interesting aspect is that as we talk about China, it's a developing country, they've also are trying to develop when it comes to infrastructure. Let's say, to look how much further does you feel Chongqing has to go to?
I mean, I've seen some comparisons of how the local transit networks have developed over the last like 10 or 15 years, from like basically nothing or a couple of lines to what it is today. The numbers are just like mind-blowing compared to like the lines that have been built and like the extensions that have happened, and just all the modes that sort of have interchanged together. And I don't think you can, obviously they're still building as well, so they're certainly going in the right direction. All the stations are connected, the airport's connected into the network.
And all the different modes are connected as well. You don't need a different ticket for a monorail.
You can just download a ticket straight onto your phone and use it on pretty much anything.
How is the cost to travel compared?
Really cheap.
Whether you're talking about local travel, which is almost nothing, or even long distance travel, for the sheer speed and the value of these high-speed trains, the prices, honestly, they're asking for nothing for a lot of product.
I mean, the price for like a single journey, we paid like around 3 yuan, which works out to like 30p. And in London, you would pay probably 10 at least 10 times that, yeah.
Now, there has been some criticism from Western countries in regards to saying that, China's rail system is not profitable. And I think the message, from the government here is, well, we don't necessarily want it to be profitable?
In the UK at the moment,
Okay.
where the government, they're trying to make the railway network profitable, or at least trying to make it lose as little money as possible, which is just leading to cuts, fare increases, at which point it's not really that usable.
They've tried to make things more easier, and all they've done is made it more expensive.
Yeah. Whereas in China, they see the social value of a high-speed railway network that can connect a massive country, one of the biggest countries in the world, from one end to the other in the course of just a day. I mean, it's definitely got some value.
At the end of the day, you could basically cover the distance overnight in 14 hours in China, like I did the sleeper from Kunming to Beijing, 2,700 kilometers, which is the distance from London to Istanbul.
That's far.
And that would take 4 days.
4 days.
To go across Europe.
And missed connections and cancelled
You can
trains.
do it in 14 hours and for $120.
It's a totally different landscape.
At the end of the day, it's a public service, so it should serve the public.
Did you get the sense that Chongqing is being designed as a global transport hub, and kind of like what infrastructure supports that vision here?
With the construction of the new Chongqing East Station and the new Terminal 3B at the airport with a massive new runway that can handle wide-body, jumbo-sized planes, it's clear that Chongqing is looking to be an international hub both for flying and also for, well, long-distance high-speed trains.
When you say to your friends or family, we're going to Chongqing, does anybody say, what is that place?
Yeah, everyone.
I say it's the biggest city nobody's ever heard of. And my friends are like, oh.
Where are you going? Oh, we're going to the biggest city in the world. What, Tokyo? Nope.
I just had the exact same conversation with my mum. I said,
Yeah.
just going to the biggest city in the world. She's like,
Yeah.
oh, we're in Japan?
Yeah. All just seen it on, literally started just within the last year seeing it on social media.
Does it live up to the expectations?
It's certainly impressive. I wouldn't say it's the most impressive place I've been, but it's certainly developing a lot faster than
Rapidly developing.
anywhere else I've been.
My next question, everybody's curious about this in Chongqing. You know, what's been your favorite train ride or metro moment here in Chongqing?
Well, for me, it definitely got to be the monorail at Liziba station. Just
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think there's any comparison to Liziba station with the monorail just driving into a building and the swarms of tourists taking photos down below and on the platforms, I think is a testament to that.
You know, out of all the trains that you guys have taken in China so far, whether high speed, scenic, do you have a favorite route line that really stood out?
For me, I really enjoyed the journey between Beijing and Shanghai on the flagship G train. The business class on that train is absolutely unreal. It has an entire private suite. The seat goes all the way flat, just like business class on an airline. You have an entertainment screen, they bring you a meal and some snacks, and it's just incredible. I mean, all this for just a 4.5-hour journey. And to be honest, it's not even expensive. I think it's $300 for a journey on this incredibly fast, incredibly luxurious high-speed train. It's just amazing.
Is that like 1,200 kilometers or 1,000 kilometers?
1,300 kilometers there.
Yeah.
$300, not bad. Zero gravity chairs, I'm in. All right, anything that stood out for you?
Obviously, I enjoy riding the new trains that China have developed, all the Fuxing CR400s, and all the different variations of them, and all the little, they've made like basically a version for every eventuality, whether it's a cold weather version or it's an extra long version or it's a version with 4 classes,
Sounds
version
very-
2 classes. Yeah, exactly. They're just, and it's like, and all the differences on the side is like 1 letter, and like. Albie's been learning about all these different, he's found a website that he can now distinguish all
It
the trains.
documents every single one. It shows you exactly what's running each one.
Whereas before you've had to guess what you were guessing.
I have spent hours on this website, believe me.
High speed forensics. I love it. I love it.
Also, I would like to give a shout out for the self-driving high-speed train that runs between WCICO and Beijing. Wow. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the first in the world to be self-driving. It still has a driver there for safety at the moment, but there's few trains a day between these two cities where, as far as I know, the train drives itself, which is incredible.
350 kilometers an hour.
Right.
Beautiful speed, isn't it? Guys, I mean, you've been to China, you've been around here. Is there any route or any line that you haven't taken yet that you want to?
Yeah, so I think one of my biggest must-sees has to be the sleeper train from Beijing to Hainan Island.
Oh, wow.
So this is an overnight train. It takes about 38 hours, so by no means is it the most modern or the highest speed. And when it gets just southwest of Guangzhou, the train actually drives onto a boat and goes across the strait before continuing the journey on Hainan down to Sanya. It's one of only 2 in the entire world to do this, and I'd like to try the Chinese one too.
I'd like to do that as well. However, I really want to do the line to Tibet, the highest high-speed line in the world, where they actually do keep oxygen on the train so that people can breathe properly.
Well, that's something we look forward to watching on your channel. We hope that happens soon.
Definitely lots more to try.
Let's talk to train leaders in the world here. North America, I think, is irrelevant. So let's talk to Europeans, the Chinese, the Japanese, all have different train stations, all have different elements inside the trains. I mean, at the end of the day, who wins it? Who's the best? Who needs to get better?
I mean, for sheer scale, China is by far the biggest. There's now 48,000 kilometers of line, which can reach 300 kilometers plus, which is more than 3 times the rest of the whole world put together. I mean, it's not even close.
Second place is a fraction of what China has. And it's still impressive.
Yeah. I mean, certainly, obviously how they've developed it over the last 20 years as well is impressive. I mean, Japan was seen as the flagship in high-speed rail since the Shinkansen bullet trains of the 1960s and 70s. Exactly. And Japan is honestly very, very impressive, like timekeeping and cleanliness, but China is exactly the same. And now, you know, you can basically get anywhere in China on a high-speed train, and, you know, it's a network that Europe could only dream of.
Some people call, you know, China the train capital of the world. Would you agree with that statement based on your travels throughout China and the world?
Trains, yeah, there's no comparison, to be honest. The sheer scale, like he just said, is multiple times bigger than any other network in the world. It's got so many different types of high-speed train, both imported, licensed, and homegrown.
That like 80% of the population now live within a couple of hours of a high-speed station. So, I mean, that's like a driving time. So I might even be less than that now. But it's certainly an impressive network to have.
So far, to date in China, best train station that you've seen, either visited or would like to visit?
Oh, that's a tough one.
The grand stations, the mega stations like Shanghai, Hongqiao, Beijing, Nan, etc., they have to be efficient to get the sheer volumes of people through them. But I mean, some of the ones we've been to where they take like design features from the local area, and you know, they really do put thought into it. They're not just all the same. They may be similarly designed inside, but like the buildings themselves.
Yeah.
Like we've been to a few, like Suzhou, I remember, was, I think Kunming as well. Kunming, I think it's Kunming Nan. It was actually, yeah, the roof was designed on a certain like hillside nearby or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly, they don't just take a template and say, right, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's another one.
To be honest, for me, I think the sheer scale, again, of Shanghai Hongqiao, it's massive. I went up to the upper level where all the restaurants are, and I just looked down and I saw what must have been thousands of people waiting to go to all over China. And I was just shocked, you know. I took a few photos up there and I send them to friends sometimes, and I'm just in awe of, well, it's basically a massive airport, but there's no planes.
If you sent that to any North American, they would argue to the end of time that it was an airport.
Yeah, which airport is this?
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Where do we find your channels?
Non-stop Euro trip.
And yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Super Albs Travels.
And we'll put all those links in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to both of those gentlemen's channels and keep watching. Bye for now.